Sound off. You don't wanna make me sound off. When we flow with fiction, sound off. I came to get this future sound off. When we get on, watch us turn your sound off.
You're watching The Sound Off with Carla J, and I'm here with former gold medal Olympian, light heavyweight, and middleweight title holder, Frank Tate. How are you doing, Frank?
How you doing, Carla?
I am doing great, and I really appreciate you being here with us today.
Oh, I said welcome. I had nothing else to do, you know, I'm getting ready to leave town for a fight tomorrow, so this is great.
All right, that's good. Well, I want to get right to it, and I want to ask you, we just had an opportunity to speak with Cornelius White. How did you come about working with Cornelius?
Well, Cornelius had a fight scheduled on HBO or Showtime. I don't know which one, and a fighter that I was training at the time, we said we were going to watch it because we was helping Cornelius get ready for that fight. So we watched the fight, the outcome wasn't good, and you know, I said, wow, you know, this kid needs help. He needs to learn how to box and learn how to hold. If he would have held I think it's Don George, you know, he probably would have had, you know, saved himself to go into the next round, but he didn't know how to do that. So the fight ended up the way it did, and if that wouldn't have happened, I probably wouldn't be here with Cornelius now.
Speaking of Donovan George, you know, he recently had a fight. Now, what was your assessment of that fight?
Truly, honest enough, I didn't watch it, but I heard about it. I'm not a Donovan George person because of the simple fact, him and Cornelius fought, and that's Cornelius' past. He fought him at 168 pounds. We moved up to light heavyweight now, so it's no use even looking at his fights.
Right.
Unless he come up to 175, then that's a different story.
Uh-huh. And if he were to do that, would that be something that you'd entertain for maybe some redemption?
Well, it wouldn't be so much of me, it'd be so much of Cornelius, but I will be behind him if Donovan George come up to light heavyweight, yes. Really? Because I know Cornelius talk about it, he mentioned it to me a lot, and I think if we do it at 175, it'd be a better fight. Great.
That would definitely be a sight to, you know, a fight to see. That's for sure.
Yes.
You know, and you know, under your tenure and you know everything, and you are a huge influence on Cornelius, so that would be interesting to see.
Well, it won't happen like it happened the first time, I guarantee you that.
That's good. Now let's go back to 1984. Your move from Detroit to Houston. Now, would you say that move and that decision to was a life-altering experience?
Yes, it was, because I was with famed coach at the time out of Detroit, Michigan, who everyone around the world knew about, Emanuel Steward, Thomas Hearns, Milton McCurry, Harold McKenty, DeJuan Johnson. You know, we have fighters like that, and Frank Tate chose to go soft. And you know, it was a big decision, but at the time it worked for Frank. I couldn't think about nothing else. I knew Emanuel had the know-how, how to train people, how to produce champions, but I wanted to go elsewhere because I wouldn't have been happy. And I feel like if a fighter is not happy, he won't perform as being a happy fighter.
That's right. Now, you know, you did have an opportunity to sign with Emanuel Steward, but, you know, it came with stipulation. Talk to us about what those stipulations were.
Well, I looked at when I approached Emanuel about turning professional after the Olympics, you know, I was offered two things that I really didn't care for at the time, and it wasn't for Frank. So, you know, I felt it was just time for me to move. That really determined my decision to go soft. I just didn't like it. At that point, what was offered to me. You know, not saying anything bad about Emanuel, because, you know, business is business. If I would have signed the contract, hey, it would have been a done deal. But I had enough sense not to sign the contract and move soft.
Well, you know, from my understanding, it was something like $90,000, a house, and a Oldsmobile. You know, most fighters, you know, especially back in the day in Detroit, you know, that would have been a nice little look for some folks. You know, what made you go in a different direction?
Well, it really wasn't about what he offered me. It was about that I want to just move forward. You know, Emanuel had enough champions at that time. I figured that I wouldn't get the attention that I actually needed to progress as a professional fighter at that time because he had so many fighters at that time. So I said, well, maybe I'll just take a chance, go to the South, step out into the sun, make a name for myself, and I'll be the headline. I had to make a tough decision. It was very hard leaving Detroit. You know, I have family there. It wasn't all about no car, no house. I just had to make a good decision that was going to make Frank Tate happy. And I knew one day, hard as I trained, and the likings that Emanuel taught me, that I would become world champion.
That's right.
I wasn't worried about that part. It was just being happy. You know, when you're happy, you can do anything in the world. And at that point, you're offering me a house, a car. None of it was in my name. I would say that much. It wouldn't have been, none of the house or the car wouldn't have been in Frank Tate's name. So I'll let the world or the people, the audience that view this station, Jeff Mayweather station, or your station too, to make a decision on why I went soft.
Well, you were training with the likes of, Tommy Hearns, like you said, McCrory, like you said. Now, what about the naysayers? Because I know there were a lot of folks that were probably in your ear at the time saying, what the heck are you thinking? What did you say? How did you address the naysayers at that time?
Well, actually, they was on my side.
Wow.
They
Very
were
good.
on. I didn't have not one person say anything negative. They know what they told me. We think you did the best move. It was my career, my life.
That's right.
And to this day, I don't know how they feel, but I was really told that I made the best move. Yes.
That's amazing. Now, that says a lot about, you as a person, obviously, and it says a lot about your character. And that's a life, obviously a life-altering decision. What decisions have you, had to have made for Cornelius, or what advice have you given to him, for any type of decisions that were, pretty, consistent with that one that would be considered a life-altering experience?
When we had a plan for this last fight that we won, this title fight, the goal was to stick to the plan. The plan was to go win this fight, keep fighting. Keep fighting. The more Cornelius fight, the better. As people see, he's going to get better as he works. It's just like anything in life. If you let a car sit up and you go to crank it up and don't crank, what can you expect? You don't crank it enough. It's just like a fighter. Anything. If a fighter doesn't fight, he doesn't get sharper every time he fights. He doesn't learn anything. It takes time off of him. Cornelius is not a young fighter. He's 30 years old. So we have to keep him going. The more we do that, the more he learns, the better he performs. He shocks me every time he go out. I've been with him for 3 fights now. Each fight, he does better and better. And I figure we need to get Cornelius on the move. He came to me about a fight. Well, he didn't. We got a call on the phone about fighting FRANK at 68. And as soon as I heard that name, I said, I don't want to do it. I said, this is not a good fight for you. That wasn't in our plan. We moved up to light heavyweight, and I told you when I first got you, if you want to fight super middleweight, I don't want to have anything to do with it. Because I hate to see fighters struggle to make weight. You can't perform to your best ability when you're trying to lose all that weight. There's no way it can happen. At all, no way. You can't. Mayweather's good because Mayweather stays training. His weight is right. He can get out there and perform to his best ability. But when you have a fighter that's trying to cut weight 10 pounds, 15 pounds, even 5 pounds, it still have an effect on your body when you get in that ring at night to perform, if you don't know what you're doing.
That's right. So stay in his lane, huh?
Stay to the way that we said we're going to approach this light heavyweight division. We can ease up there and get that title. That's
right. Okay, so talk to me about the 1984 Olympics.
We had, to me, the best Olympic team ever. And you know why? It wasn't because it was people saying Cuba didn't show up, Russia didn't show up. No, we were family. We grew together. The 1984 Olympic team was so successful because we fought those guys on a regular basis. That's why we had so much success. We know what to expect when when we fought them. Even though they didn't show up, I beat the #1 Russian, I beat the #1 Cuban. It didn't matter to me. I was ready for whoever to face me on the other side of that ring.
What do you think is different now and today's? I mean, I think we've all had an opportunity to see the performance of, you know, the Olympic team just recently. And what's the difference? What's the parallels between '84 and 2012?
Well, the difference is those guys don't see them guys like we did. They don't see them guys on a regular basis. I don't know if it's the funds or I don't know what's going on with amateur boxing, but I think that's what it is. What these guys are doing, they're fighting one another in these tournaments. So when the trials come on, they still fight one another. Then when they go over there and fight over wherever the Olympics is held at, they never seen this kind of style. So how could you adapt to something when you never saw it? And that's the problem we have. You know, these guys fight all kind of different ways. These guys ain't never seen it. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to adjust to that. They don't know, and the coaches ain't never seen it. So it starts from the coaches. And by the way, I would love to be the coach of the Olympics in 2016. I came up to be a candidate, myself and Mark Breedlin. And hopefully, you know, that can happen. And we can show you that we can win gold medals. Not only we had the greatest Olympic team, but we can produce the greatest Olympic team, 2016. I've been there, done it. I know what it's going to take. We have to get back to fighting these different countries so these guys can get familiar with them guys. So when the Olympics do come, we already know what kind of style they're going to approach us with. But if you don't do that, you throw those guys in the ring and say, we're going there and fight, they're not going to, they lost. But if you put them in there on a somewhat regular basis with these guys from overseas, they see them on a regular basis, then they know how to fight them. They don't do that anymore, and that's the big problem we have with our Olympic boxers.
Now, when I had an opportunity to speak with Cornelius, one of the things that he said was, in working with you, he wanted to change his life. What does that mean to you?
That means the world to me, that he looks up to me, and he's going to listen and pay attention and soak everything in that I have to offer to him. I mean, that's amazing because fighters don't normally talk like that. And that tells me that he wants it real bad. That's how bad he wants it. That's how bad he wants to become world champion. He's willing to take anything in that I have to say to him or show him to do that. Like I told him, when we got ready for that last fight, I worked him. He was getting mad. He said, Coach, you sure we need to do all that? I said, yes. When you go up there and you get that belt and they announce your name and raise your hands, put that belt on your waist, you're going to thank me. Just look at it like that. And he didn't say another word.
After winning the belt, what did he say to you?
He finally came to me and said, Coach, you were right, thank you.
How important would you say is a trainer, fighter relationship?
Oh, it's very important. When that fighter get in that ring, it's his life. I'll tell anybody, when you watch fights on TV, you see all those people come in the ring. I mean, it'd be about 50 people, but there's one standing at the end. That's what matters, that one person. Everybody else had to bag out. When it's all said and done, when that bell goes ding, 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 it's only one person standing in that ring. He has to fight for his life. We want that person to get in that ring and also get out. That's what it's about. My main object in boxing is to protect the fighters because I was once one myself.
Now, what do you say for a lot of the fighters that are still going? Folks that are in retirement and that have recently opted to come out of retirement and continue fighting.
Well, I can name two people that I really feel that they should get out the ring. Evander Holyfield, #1, because he's my Olympian teammate, and Roy Jones, he should just go straight to announcing because he does a great job. But I don't know their situations. I don't know why they have to do it. Is it an ego thing or financial thing? But as always, I tell any fighter, it's life after boxing. Life after boxing. If you can have the fame, you can have the fortune. But for example, not to bring it up, but look at Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer ever. He can't enjoy it. He's here, but he can't enjoy it. Life after boxing. He made it very comfortable for his family for a period of time, but he's still here, but he can't enjoy it. He's the one who got in the ring, took those punches, did all that traveling, and you know, that's what I'm saying. Get in the ring, do what you do, train, take care of your body, because that's your job.
Right.
That's your job.
Thank you so much, Frank Tate, for taking the time out to speak with us today. And you definitely have to come back. I know you all have some fights coming up, and we're going to definitely follow you all. And if you have anything else going on, if we see any developments with the Olympic team and that nomination, we're definitely going to get you back on camera. We definitely have to do that.
Well, thank you very much.
I appreciate you taking the time out. Thank you all so much. I've just spoken with Frank Tate. You all are watching The Sound Off with Carla J. Take care.
Sound off. You don't wanna make me sound off. When we flow, it makes you sound off. I came to get this, you just sound off. When we get on, watch us turn your sound off.